The ModernJeeper Show, the show about Jeeps, Jeeping, and Jeepers.
Well, hey, Modern Jeepers, is another episode of the ModernJeeper Show with me, Matson from MetalCloak, and Mr. Modern Jeeper, Corey Osborne.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, and Rockstar Jeep Girl, Jessy.
Hi, Matson.
Hi. Where the heck are you guys?
We are almost to Hurricane.
Hurricane.
Headed for Sand Hollow for the 4x4 Winter Jamboree.
Wow. So this is cool. I think it's the first time we've done this where you're actually on the road going and doing it and not sitting in an Arby's parking lot.
No.
Right. Yeah. I think it was a kind of a trial and error. This is one of those, let's see if we can pull it off. And we have really good signal. We're not quite to Cedar City yet. And I am driving, but I have both hands on the wheel, and we're being safe. And it's a beautiful day. Yeah, headed for the first CTI Tour event of the year.
That's right. CTI Tour 2022. Oh my God, 2022. God, that makes this is your 7th year doing the CTI Tour. 7th year.
Great.
Wow.
Who would have ever thought?
It flew by.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Right. Yeah, it's absolutely that way. Yeah, I'm getting things dropped off in my office because I'm busy even when I'm doing my podcast.
What are you doing?
What am I doing? Well, I'm just recording some stuff, doing a little bit here. It's absolutely boring around here. I don't do anything all day. Yeah, I just sit around waiting to talk to my friends.
I don't believe that for a minute. You know what? Before we get, this will probably be a short episode, but some of our friends have reached out to us after the last episode, and it turns out that some have turned this show into their own personal drinking game. So,
oh my God.
So they have picked up on a keyword throughout the episodes or something happening. Last week it turned out to be a pen click, and I don't know for sure who had the pen, but every time a pen clicked, they were all watching the podcast and drinking.
I would blame that. I think that was Andrew. Andrew was making the clicks, and I tried to clean those up. I was editing that. I'm like, there is a click removable tool in Audacity. It doesn't work the way I thought it would.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the word Utah, and I'm just going to give it to them. Every time I say the word Utah, they better be taking a drink. So
we need to do it. We need to do an episode on how to watch Modern Jeeper, and this is it. It's now a drinking game, the Modern Jeeper drinking game. So today's word is Utah.
Utah. That's right.
Utah.
When we say Utah,
they're going to be really drunk.
So clarify that was Utah, right?
Utah. Yeah, I think that's our word.
Utah.
And we're in Utah, so we're headed to an event in Utah.
And you've been driving through Utah? Is that correct?
Utah most of the day. Yeah. We entered Utah from Colorado.
It's cool because I'm actually looking forward to our Moab event in Utah.
That'll be also in Utah.
And if you're not drunk by now, that's cool. That's awesome that they're doing that. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I got a kick out of it, and hopefully they got a kick out of it. By the end of the episode, they probably weren't even paying attention to what we were talking about, but maybe that's not sometimes either.
Maybe that's not bad. That's funny. So you're heading to Winter 4x4 Jamboree, and it's Tuesday. So what's the actual schedule of the event?
Yeah, so for the first time that this event's been being held, this is now a 4-day event, and they're doing trail rides all the days. But the first 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday, we're actually going to be out at, I don't know how to pronounce it exactly, if it's Stuckey or Stuckey, but it's Stuckey Farms, which is, it's about 10 minutes from where the fairgrounds and where where we typically would line up to go out on trails and stuff. So they have us out at Stuckey Farms from 4 to 8 on Wednesday and Thursday to run the CTI trailer. They're going to have live music. There's an event within the event out there.
Oh, wow.
And they're still doing the regular vendor show as well.
But it's going to be super dark come 6:30, y'all. So
Yeah, I'm not sure if they'll have lights out there. So this is
it's
kind
hard
of
to do it in the dark.
these guys. You know what though? They're very thoughtful about the people who show up, and parking lot lights. We're still running the CTI trailer, and a lot of people then don't get a chance to go inside to the vendor show because they're out wanting to get on the CTI trailer. So maybe by breaking it up this time, they're actually helping the other vendors get some traffic. And yeah.
Yeah, it's true. We need to be nice to everybody else in the industry because they don't have a CTI trailer.
No.
That's okay. It's kind of the struggle we have with ARS and developing the Venture Rack Systems brand is ARS doesn't have a CTI trailer either, or anything like that. Like, and it's building that brand with the idea of getting out. I still got to figure out what is the equivalent of a CTI trailer for Adventure Rack Systems. Maybe it's getting the Gladiator up there and seeing that the overcab system doesn't cause stresses. But if you put a Gobi rack system on your rig, it causes stresses. There you go.
That's very true. I think this is going to be, again, this is the start of 2022. I'm cautiously, I'm cautiously, and the reason I say that is because you remember when we were very optimistic about a year, that would have been 2020. And
yeah, the year of vision and clarity, 2020.
So I've got just a couple of things still on my mind. I need to ramble them off so that I get them out of my brain. We were listening to a guy talk about the scarcity of new vehicles, and they were talking about vehicles and whether or not now's a good time to buy. Used stuff is really high priced. And he brought up something that I really hadn't thought about, but he recommended that when it came to an electric vehicle, that he recommends that people lease. And I never really thought about this, but his reasoning was that in 3 years the technology is probably going to be a lot different on an electric Jeep. So you should lease so that you can trade it back in. And I just kind of thought to myself, well, is there really a market for used electric vehicles?
There are used Teslas being sold. I mean, you go on, people buy used Teslas because they get them for cheaper. Is it almost the same? But it's like the same market as somebody buying $125,000 Mercedes for $15,000, $20,000 that's outside of warranty, because the cost to repair that is so astronomical that most people simply won't do it. So I imagine the used market for Teslas and stuff are probably going to be in that range as well, because you do run the risk of having to do. It'd be interesting to see like somebody having an aftermarket insurance for something like a Tesla battery system or a Volt battery system.
Right.
But that's incredibly smart, because if you do a 3-year lease on a 4xe, right? And everything I've ever heard about leases is you're supposed to walk in and negotiate the price of the vehicle, and then turn around and tell them, by the way, I want to lease it.
Yeah, right. Yep.
And that is, and if you do that with a 4xe and lease it, it's actually pretty smart, because you're not responsible for a problem. And if it's a leased vehicle, it's still within range of warranty and everything else. I mean, the whole time it's leased, it's under warranty, right?
Right. I mean, when I first bought Spike, my 02 Wrangler, I leased it, but I knew I was going to purchase it outright. Typically, a leased payment is a little bit cheaper than if you were going to finance it. But I think it's interesting. You can still modify the vehicle. You got to put it back to the way you took delivery of it. But
right.
For something like a lift and that kind of stuff, so you put it back to the way it was stock, and you turn it in and you say, thanks.
That's interesting. And especially if you're doing something like, a MetalCloak bolt-on suspension system, you can bolt it off. And we've had customers that have done that. And I know we've had customers who have leased vehicles and literally leased one for a few years. And earlier JK took the suspension system off and leased another one and put it onto the new one and just rotated it through, because there wasn't any major modifications, right?
That's right. Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting market here in another 3 years. I mean, there's going to be a lot of vehicles out there that, I mean, I get it. Right now, who would have thought that a used vehicle is actually worth more than when you bought it. That's
Yeah, was it Vroom that you can go on Vroom and put in your information on it, and they'll immediately give you an offer, and then they'll keep sending you offers and keep sending you offers and keep sending you offers.
Oh yeah.
Keep calling. Yeah.
Yep.
Unless you put in a TJ. I put it in my TJ and it came in like at $2,800. I'm like, yeah, no, not today's market. Somebody doesn't have the calculation right in that vehicle.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, that's cool.
I think we can come up with a way to display our racks and for ARS, and we just need to think about that some more. Anybody that sees us, of course, on the CTI tour, we do have some flyers. We will have some brochures out, so we can actually put those in somebody's hands and at least have the conversation about it.
Absolutely. Well, we need to figure out how to do the bed rack system on the back of the Dodge.
Yeah, there you go.
That still allows the tonneau cover to work.
Oh, huh.
So, or a Dodge Focus overcab system. I'm curious, like on your plans, because right now what are you pulling back there? We can see between your guys' heads. We can see in the back window. Is that Golden Spike?
Yep, that's Golden Spike. So after this event, we're actually headed, and I don't think it's been out there for the public yet, really, other than folks that listen to the podcast. But we'll be headed to American Off-Road down in Las Vegas with Jonathan. Going to be on next Saturday or at a different location yet, but we'll be having an open house for Jonathan. And then after that, we're so close. There's a couple of places that we got to go check out in Death Valley. We've had a couple more people sign up, but there's a couple places that I want to make sure that we can actually get. So after we get done in Las Vegas with American Off-Road, we're actually going to run up to Death Valley real quick. There's a couple of trails that we need to make sure we can get overland rigs through, because these 2 trips for Death Valley this year are going to be different. These are places that we haven't been before. So,
wow.
Yeah, so we need to go make sure that we can actually get an overland Jeep through these trips.
Well, that'll be nice. So that's like any hint to what they are?
Yeah, so there's a place out in Death Valley called Goler Wash. Goler Wash is we've heard and seen pictures. Of course, Dell's been out there years ago, but these are some of those trails that get washed out a little bit, and with some weather, it could be a little interesting. So we're just gonna go make sure, get familiar with the area ourselves, and before we take a group through there, then all of a sudden we're like, oh, didn't we say you had to have front and rear lockers and 40s?
Right. Well, I'll also be curious about what Death Valley is like right now, because all of California has been experiencing a good amount of rain.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see what it's like down there, and how much retention. And did anything get washed out from the recent rains? And yeah.
Had a bunch of rain and a bunch of snow, so we'll have to see. Surely they've fixed Titus Canyon by now, but
yeah, Titus was actually closed, but just for a couple of days, I think.
Oh, okay.
And I think it's reopened. But again, these 2 trips that we're doing here come March are going to be significantly different than the trips we've done before. Trip 1's going to be a lot more wheeling. Still a lot of exploration, but I think there's going to be some more technical driving involved.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, it's great that you're able to go from Utah over to down to Vegas in Nevada, and then over to California, and on your way back hit Utah again.
Yeah. And Utah is one of those places that we love spending time in Utah. Of course, we do have our Moab event in Utah.
Right. Speaking of Moab, that's coming up. Well, registration's live, of course, and we've had some registration signups for the Moab event. But if you guys have if any of your listeners have any interest in being out there, that's the one that fills up fast. So definitely get on there and sign up soon.
Well, it's in Utah. I mean, that says a lot.
Absolutely. One of my favorite movies of Keanu Reeves was that one where he played the character Johnny Utah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Point Break.
Yeah. So you're going down American Off-Road, doing that event in Vegas. But I was wondering, so looking back at Golden Spike, what events do you plan on taking Silver Spike to this year as far as cross country stuff? Are you going to take it any place cross country or?
Absolutely. And if we have an opportunity to a lot of these shows, of course, they're expecting the CTI trailer there. We go to a lot of places that we kind of need both. So the nice thing about Silver Spike and having the Gladiator out is that it's very capable to drive down the highway, whereas Golden Spike's on sticky tires and things like that, and it's not as comfortable to travel cross country, although we could. Definitely it'll be in Moab. Definitely, of course, we'll take it to Death Valley. And then as far as the other events, we'll just have to see if it works out. You know, everywhere else other than California, fuel isn't terribly priced.
It's not good, but it's not bad. Yeah. Like, what's the fuel like in Utah?
Utah's fuel prices, I think we just got done at $3.95 for diesel.
That's not bad. Yeah, you get up to $5 here in California.
Yep.
Yeah, but yeah, it's half of that's just government taxes.
Right. And it's cheaper the farther east and south we go. I think, Jesse, in Oklahoma, what was diesel?
My diesel price was $2.98 or $2.99.
Oh, wow.
Cheaper than even in Utah.
Wow.
And the gas prices were at $2.70.
It's craziness. Still a lot. I mean, what was historic prices in Oklahoma like say 2 years ago?
The diesel was almost $4 a gallon. It was bad.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
So it's actually it's gone down, or?
Oh, a lot of, yeah. And that was when gas prices went up years ago. Like, we had that whole.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody freaked out and gas prices went skyrocketing. So.
But like, say 2019, what was gas prices like in Oklahoma?
About $1.70.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, these were really inexpensive.
Yeah, I was thinking back. Well, when I was a kid, I remember, like, shoot, when I first started driving, 16, 17 years old, it was like
89 cents a gallon.
89, 99 cents a gallon. It was like, and the media would freak out when it'd go up to like $1.30.
I know.
And it was always a fun pattern because it would slowly rise until the media freaked out about it, and then it would fall. Then it would slowly rise. Media would freak out about it, and then it would fall.
Yeah.
Nobody cares anymore.
No, and a couple days ago we ran into our friend up in Montrose that has the towing company. Price was actually out of town, but his crew was out trying to pull a Hummer, an H2, out of one of the Montrose rock crawling trails, and snow, mud, and
ice.
I don't know. We were talking about the fuel prices, and it made me think of this Hummer. This guy was from out of state. He was by himself. He's in a fairly stock H2 Hummer on one of the harder rock crawling trails in Montrose, and completely grenaded his transfer case, both front and rear. So he was dead in the water. My friends called us for an assist because they were out there in a single Jeep, couldn't get a tow truck to him. So we went out and helped pull this guy out of Calamity, which is the name of the trail. And it just, I don't know, it really kind of made me sit back and think, people really do some really stupid things.
All for the gram.
Yeah. Guys had this Hummer for one day.
Wow.
Yep.
It was toast.
It was completely apart.
Well, it's kind of like some of the Broncos we've seen, right? Guys going out there, and especially like, I think you have these former Jeep owners who grab the Bronco and then go out and play with it like they thought they could play in their Jeep, and then finding out,
Nope.
it's not quite ready for prime time yet.
No, not yet. That driving an IFS, like we talked about during last week's podcast with Rick and yeah, there's a lot of learning curve there with an IFS type of rig if you've been used to driving a Jeep off road.
Right. Yeah, that's part of that. With you see somebody like, well, Lauren Healy's been driving around. Yeah, but their rig is slightly modified.
Little bit.
And he drive.
Right. And he's been driving IFS for a very long time successfully. So the Jeep is nothing. Yeah, it's interesting. So speaking of which, just a little side note on Broncos, because this has been kind of interesting for us as we just launched. We got a couple things going on right now, actually. First is the I Pledge the Jeep giveaway is going on. This is our 9th year doing it, I think. Incredible response this year. I think everybody would like to get something for free, only because of inflation and everything else. I mean, who wouldn't? So it's been incredible response. People go to ipledgethejeep.com and learn how to enter. And then they go through the process, and it's all there's a whole thread over there at ModernJeeperForum.com. And so that's been growing fast, lots of entries. On deadline enter is the 24th, and we'll do our MetalCloak live on the 26th to do the giveaway. There's a surprise guest host, which is keyword for I don't know who my guest host is going to be, because you guys are going to be gone and Dell's going to be gone, and I can't sit there by myself. So
you should find somebody from Utah.
You should put screens up with their faces on it.
I should. Maybe I should have Jeremy Rowan from Utah fly out.
Somebody from Utah. I mean,
somebody from Utah. Open call for Utah. But yeah, so so that's happening. And again, deadline enters the 24th. Giveaways on 1:00 on the 26th at youtube.com/MetalCloak. And then there is, I just threw up on Bronco 6G. And of course, our Jeepers may not be interested in this, but on Bronco 6G, I just did our very first post, which happened to be a giveaway. Kind of like the giveaways that we are going to start up doing again. We were doing for a while on GL Wrangler Forum, on Jeep gladiatorforums.com. And we're going to start doing them as well on Jeep Forum, and a couple other different forums out there. We're just going to start doing these monthly giveaways again. We were doing for a while. It kind of got hard to track them and keep up with them because I was busy. And so we're going to start them up again. And these are basically just monthly giveaways. Can be all kinds of stuff on them. Everything from a small little, it might be a seat support for a JK. It might be a full rack system for a JK. You just never know what my mood is when I decide to set it up for a month. But we started one on Bronco Forum for our skid plate system that is not yet on the market, but that we've had a couple of images of. And this is our full skid plate system for the 2.7 motor on a 4-door. Posted that up, and I was incredibly pleased by the number of Bronco owners that were familiar with MetalCloak, familiar with the MetalCloak products, and some of them, because they actually have to answer a survey. Have you had a Jeep before and you know MetalCloak, or no, you just know MetalCloak and you're happy they're making stuff for Broncos? And it's kind of a 50-50 split. Like, there's a lot of guys that were former Jeep owners that are now in the Bronco market, and a lot of guys who simply know MetalCloak and they're now in the Bronco market. So, and of course, there's a lot of guys who have entered the contest, and part of the entry rules is that you actually have to post a picture of your rig plus say why you want to win. I also added a caveat that if you haven't actually had yours delivered yet, you can just post a pic of what you ordered. There is a lot of those.
Okay.
Yeah. I was looking at some statistics the other day on sales, and so Jeep, Stellantis posted their sales of the Jeep Wrangler, and they were at 204,000 units last year, and the Bronco was at 32,000 units.
Yes. Yeah, I think a little ramping up. But what I find interesting about that is, the JK was averaging 250,000 units a year. And in fact, towards the end, it was like 265 or 270. It was pretty high up there in production. And yet only 204,000 JLs.
Right. And I think that with the Gladiator out there, you add those numbers.
That's true. What was the Gladiator sales?
I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, you figure that JL buyer is kind of torn right now.
That's That's very true. That's very true. So it could be that it all adds up to be a good number, because look at me. I didn't buy the jail. I bought the Gladiator. So
right.
I'm one of those guys.
I'm looking for my 4-door.
Still looking for a yellow. If we can find a yellow JL,
it's got to have the turbo.
Yeah, 2-liter turbo,
and
but
heated seats and all the things.
She wants a ruby, but I don't know. They're few and far between out there.
Are you looking for used or new?
Used, is they aren't making them brand new right
now. No more hella yellow. So that we've heard.
So if you guys are out there, hella yellow 4-door, will make you famous.
Make you famous.
Make you famous. Otherwise, we'll have to do a metallic yellow wrap for whatever you get.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah.
If it needs to be, that will happen too, but I'm taking my time.
Yeah.
Because we do, you know what I found, and I actually finally got the files for it, is I got membership onto one of these sites where you can get full downloads for the purposes of doing designs. Like I just went ahead and it came across my feed, and I'm like, you know what, this is pretty good price. So I'm going to go and do a 1-year membership. And as part of that, I have tons of downloads I can do, but I only needed a few. So I actually have the full Gladiator, and it's a 5-view download. Like the ones I used to get from our wrap company were just 3-view.
Right.
And it was really just back and both sides. And now I have a 5-view, which includes front, rear, both sides, and top, which for the first time now I actually have the hood I can do. So we can do a full-on 360-degree wrap design for you if you do decide, and that way it's all incorporated. I mean, it's yellow, it's got all your graphics, and it's got everything, and it's all just incorporated into it. You just get a white one or a black one, and we'll just make it what you need.
That's what I said too. So
yeah. And it was just something that's white, and then she modifies it, makes it her own.
Yeah. Just make the interior what you want, and then or make sure the interior is as close to what you want, and then we can do the rest. Yeah.
I got to give a shout out to our guys at our friends at OVS. We met them at SEMA and talked to them. Now these are the guys that make that 270-degree awning, and there's quite a few companies. 23-0 makes one. There's a lot of companies that make these, but I have some faith right now in the supply chains getting kind of fixed up, because these guys actually finally got stock. This is an awning that we talked about and ordered, and no, they're not a sponsor or anything like that. I paid full price, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm excited to put it on our rack, and we had a piece that's custom made for it. Now that these companies are getting their awnings in, again, this is so slick. A 270-degree awning that literally you can unzip and just walk around the Gladiator and have all of that coverage under your own Easy Up that deploys in like 5 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And how wide is it?
And it's 83 inches long. So if you think about that being one of the legs, that's about how far it sticks out from the Gladiator. And then it's got a pivot hinge near the tailgate. So you literally unzip it, grab the front corner up by the rear passenger door, the rear driver door, and just walk around the Gladiator, and it opens this giant 270-degree awning.
Wow. Okay, I want one.
Yeah. They're not cheap. They run about $1,000, but for the ease of setup, and a lot of rack companies that everybody's having to modify their current rack to make these things kind of work, and they're really popular. A lot of the Toyota guys have been running these things for a year or two since they came out. Yeah. So yeah, it'll be fun to get one on the Gladiator and see how it works.
Wait, are you saying the Toyota guys are ahead of the Jeep curve?
So I think it was Chris Farley, right, that did the whole, go live in a van down by the river. Well, in 2004, we could go live in a van down by the river. But now in 2021, you have to save up $45,000 to go live in a van down by the river.
Right. Well, that's because you're going to be hashtag van life. Hashtag van life. Yeah. See, 2004, they didn't care about hashtags.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, the iPhone didn't come out until 2006, right?
And
the
you
iPhone
could
destroyed us.
In 2004, you could somebody would give you a van. Not anymore.
Yeah, well, 2004, if you lived in a van, you were considered a loser and a hobo. Now you're a winner because you have a hashtag.
Yeah.
Now you have a YouTube channel.
Right. Well, hey, I know you guys got a lot going on and heading out. You're about to get to that point where the signals are going to disappear on you. So have fun. Look forward to seeing images and stories at ModernJeeper.com about Winter 4x4 Jamboree, as well as all the other good stuff. And maybe you guys can do your own little recording to share with friends, or do some Facebook Live to show off what's going on out there.
Definitely. We'll get some pictures of this new event schedule and get those up as well. So
awesome. Well, hey, from Modern Jeepers, thanks for following us and being a part of the show. We're you can reach us at Matson at MetalCloak.com, Corey at MetalCloak.com, Jessy at MetalCloak.com, and of course, find us at ModernJeeperAdventures.com and ModernJeeperForum.com, as well as ModernJeeper.com. And if there's anything you need, want, or see, well, get a hold of one of them because I'm probably busy. Love you all.
Find us in Utah.
Find us in Utah. Yes. When you head back, you're gonna go back through Utah again, right?
Yeah, we'll be in Utah this whole time, and then we'll be back in Utah later.
Okay, nice. Well, I appreciate it. Love Utah. And if you live in Utah, say hi. If you see Corey, maybe wave at him as he's driving through. Otherwise, we will see you on the other side and see you on the trails, my friends.
Cheers.
See ya.